With the copper red hot and molten, I pulled the lid off the furnace. I noticed just how hot the lid on the furnace actually was, so I set my mold on top of that. I've preached it several times in my own videos. Make sure you heat your molds. If you don't, you'll get some sort of an explosion. The events that take place next prove just how you can never be too careful. I'm pulling impurities off the copper, thinking that at this time that mold's getting hotter and hotter. I pull the molten copper from the furnace, and I pour slow and steady. Just a slow, steady pour, and we get an explosion. That was extremely dangerous. And truthfully, I got really lucky. I do want you to know that I was wearing a face mask, while still in short sleeves. Now my logic's thinking that since there's already molten metal in my mold, it's already warmed up. I should be good to go. So I go ahead and fill the rest of the mold with more copper, and we get some more explosions. Not as extreme. Scared me enough to make me go ahead and back up. But realizing now this mold's certainly fully heated, I go ahead and dump the rest of the copper into the mold, and I got lucky. I would never suggest duplicating what I just did, but you can see the separation in the first pour and the second pour by that line running through the bottom of the bar, and the crackling look to it from the explosions, those air pockets in there. Got a load. Somebody wanted to get rid of their old satellite dish and antenna, so I'm going to separate all this. This is all aluminum. Satellite dish is made out of aluminum, isn't that crazy? Separate all that out. I might do a melt with the aluminum, and then this is just what I've gathered over. It's been like 2 months since I've scrapped anything, but yeah, I'm just going to run this and clean up my yard a little bit and see how much extra money we can make on top of our never-ending grind or our day jobs, and try and just keep stacking money as much as we can. Right now I'm going to pull out all of the magnetic metals. Most of this is just steel and some tin, but basically it's just that big antenna. I'm going to stack all this on the trailer, and then I'll give you my guesstimation on what I think the value is. With all that loaded up, I'm pretty excited to run this nice little load. Probably give 50 bucks, 40 bucks, something, to the scrapyard. And then yeah, I think this old satellite dish will make an awesome melt video. So it's gonna be a lot of work to melt that much aluminum, but I think it'll be worth it, so we're gonna do that. Got this little bit of dog food cans, and every piece of metal I see, you know, I saved, and I want to stack that in assets. And just like that, we're at the dump. This is a time lapse of me unloading the scrap. Now, when I said I want to get more assets, I'm talking about precious metals, because right now it seems like they're down a lot. 45, 60. It didn't take me too much effort just to add to my assets. Now, this is how I normally heat my molds. I put them directly on the furnace, and that does the trick every time. And I've got so much copper lately that I decided I'd go ahead and melt some aluminum, because I just want to have a pretty even distribution of the types of metals I store. You never know which metal is going to go on a boom or be in a super high demand. But I do think generally the markets all move together. However, sometimes things like rhodium did a year or so ago, their value just exponentially grows. It seems like aluminum tends to get a lot more of the impurities. A lot of it's what they call dross, but it seems to be a mixture of paint, dirt, and I guess oxidation. Even though aluminum is a pretty abundant metal, it has a pretty big use case. While I can't name all the use cases, I know that it does conduct electricity, and they use it a lot of times in electric motors. But it's also very valuable because of its lightweight. And one of the plus things to melting aluminum is that it has a really low melting point compared to a lot of other metals like copper. And just to make sure I hit this one home, always heat your molds. And I forgot to tell you, I actually had a use case for this aluminum, but I didn't mention it because it was a flop. I was trying to forge a key because for some reason at the key masters, they could never seem to make this particular key. Unfortunately, the key didn't turn out very good. Now I just want to take a look at that key and see how it turned out. Ooh, that's still hot. So I pull that sand casting kit apart, and I've never seen aluminum float or metal float. I guess unless we're talking about a boat. And I wasn't trying to rhyme. So I still have a lot of things I can improve on, just so y'all know. And that was the key to my hopes and dreams. I went ahead and remelted that overspill from the key attempt and the key itself, and then there was a little bit of aluminum left after I cleaned the crucible out. And this was the residual aluminum I got from all of that put together. Enough to make one more bar, a little smaller, but still a nice solid bar. With one bar already cooling off in the water, I'm going to go ahead and put the second bar in the water too. I love the sound it makes when something that hot hits water, and it helps me get the aluminum out of that mold. That steam gets behind the bar and it just blows it right out. And another cool property aluminum has is the fact that it cools off really quickly. That's why they make aluminum radiators and aluminum wheels. Well, aluminum wheels is because of the lightweight properties, but it does also cool. I guess what I'm saying is that even in a few minutes, you'll see I'll be able to go ahead and grab those aluminum bars right out of the water, and they're not even hot. Wow, that concrete was hot right there where the fucking thing is sitting too. There it is. 2 nice little meager aluminum bars. 2 more aluminum bars to add to the stack. Get a nice little howl going up in here. I've been making YouTube videos for quite some time, and I will say that I really enjoy making these crafted metal videos. It seems like y'all are some of the best fans anyone could ask for, and I certainly am not going to try to ask for too much, but if you could hit the like button, I appreciate it, and it's free, so help a brother out. See you next time. Peace.